Coming soon to own on
YouTube and Twitch.
Death games, I'll actually survive. Now, today we're gonna be going over. Well, he Waves is gonna be going over death games and the ones he'll survive. Besides Squid Game, I'm probably not gonna know a lot of these death games, so I'm gonna have to let him explain it first, and then see if I will also survive. Let's get straight into it. I played these games before.
Death games, a series of media that a lot of people recently have grown to love, with shows and movies like Squid Game, Jigsaw, and many more. I've recently spent some of my time and went back and came across more shows dedicated to this trope, and it had me thinking, mesmerizing, debating that I definitely will survive some of these. It'll be too easy. I'm about to win this, man. Today, beautiful people, I'm going to go over certain death games I would casually win in.
I talk to
and
you.
so I die in 5 seconds. As with the combination of my strength, speed, agility, intelligence, and my stupidity, I would be able to bring all of these skills together and win to guarantee my survival. I'll be,
My character build, calm little 6'1", 6 foot, around 235. I'm not the leanest guy, but I ain't a fat nigga. I think don't know the 40 time, but we definitely in the fours. Not the low fours, but we in the fours, and maybe a 4.7. Now, I haven't ran in a minute. I'm not gonna lie, but so we definitely got the physical strength. And
picking certain
niggas know I'm
games from
smart up
multiple
here.
shows, from the easiest ones to live through to the biggest bullshit where dying is the only answer. I'm gonna keep it 100 and be completely honest with you, man, throughout the entire video, giving 10 out of 10 strategies and plans where it just makes sense. So without any more yapping, let's get into the first pick of the lineup, which is none other than Danganronpa.
I seen this before. I seen it, and then I dropped it. I forgot why I dropped it, but it's this shit with the bear. And I remember people were dying in their corridors. Like people were dying in their show, and there was hiding the bodies. I remember the show, but I don't remember all of it. I just remember
one of
parts
the
of
most
it.
interesting type of games I've ever played. Bear in mind, I haven't touched it in a while, so for this video, I'm only gonna recap and cover the events from the first game and the animations I've seen that as well. If you're not familiar with this series, it follows the story of a guy named Makoto Naegi, who got accepted by lottery into a private school called Hope's Peaks Private Academy. The school was made for special people with talents who were then invited to join to maximize their skills and become way better than they are currently. Now, as soon as Makoto took his first step into his brand new school, he got knocked out, man. Then when he wakes up, he realized that he's been trapped in the school. All the windows are bolted against giant metal plates and giant bolts. There's gigantic government alien big ass doors stopping anyone from leaving. And it's basically just finesse. You can't do nothing. He then makes his way to the main hall where the rest of everybody who also got trapped in there gathered. And this is where you meet the group and learn everybody's talents. You got the ultimate gambler, the ultimate grappler, the ultimate hall monitor, the ultimate fanfic artist, Guna, and the ultimate
Super
clairvoyant. Bitch, that's the weed, man. But you get the point. Everybody who was invited to the school beside Makoto is special in some way. So while these men are getting to know one another and getting acquainted, the principal, Monokuma, finally makes his appearance. He starts yapping about their situation, saying that they're gonna spend the rest of their lives in the school unless they kill someone. Stab, throw them off a cliff, blow them up, whatever. Somebody has to murder somebody else in order to leave the academy. And you know what?
Yeah, nigga would have died in that room immediately. Let's get active. I'm trying to get out of here.
I would never leave. I'm gonna sleep comfortably in my bed. I mean, look at the refreshments. They got free food. In this economy, bruv, I'm staying. I'm gonna cook some chicken. I'm gonna have some goodies, man. But my first point I like to make about surviving this place would be to just firm it. Not permanently at first, but just long enough to see if anything would happen over the next couple of days. I mean, you would assume that if you were in this situation, maybe if you don't go ahead with the killing, nothing happens. It's not like Monokuma would pull some crazy shit to get you murking other people, right? No.
He definitely was.
Monokuma is many things, but the one biggest thing this guy is a rage baiter. He's doing it all for the love of the game. He didn't like the fact that nobody was killing anyone at the start. It was getting him angsty. So the bear pulled up his pants, rolled his sleeves, and showed him clips of important people in their lives probably dying. He's evil. He can't force you to kill.
Oh yeah, I remember it. And then they were broadcasting their lives live, like internationally on television. I remember
But
that
he can't
part.
convince you. And the guy can come off as pretty persuasive. From bribes to showing off your deepest, darkest secrets you've never told anyone with your life. Like, he's gonna hold you, I'm gonna be honest. Which brings me onto point number 2. Don't trust Monokuma. It's his game plan for you to go ahead and murk other people. He's baiting you here. And you know, if I was in the game and I heard this from him, I'd feel like in some twisted way that it's the only way to get out, since he is the guy who trapped Amanda Minute in the first place. So maybe his word is bond. But at the same time, he's sus. Actually, in fact, you can't trust anyone in the game. Something that's consistent in most of these types of shows or games. As far as you know, the people in the same building as you are as reliable and decent as their first impression gives off. You don't really know them. It's not like you've been best friends for 10 years and been a
I'm not gonna lie, I'm trusting nobody. I'm staying to myself forever and ever. I'm just keeping it like that. Cause somebody eventually gonna boss up and try to slime you out.
their weddings or some shit. You just met them. And with Monokuma saying crazy shit to get other people to kill is enough of a reason to say Bundy alliance shit. It's a kill or be killed scenario to be in. And sure,
Yup.
maybe making alliances would be worth it in the sense that I could trust somebody to work alongside them. But as much as people would want to work with me, they also might stab me in the back and betray me. It's
Low key, if you're gonna do an alliance of 4 people. We all gonna jump one person at a time. Everybody get a body. We all out of here. Just like that.
too common nowadays.
Yeah, that's
And
the
I'd
only
be
alliance I
paranoid
can
as much
see.
as the next person about the whole murder game thing. So it's not happening. Especially knowing that everybody is a stranger. I can't trust these men fully. I would form alliances, but they would only be as loyal as they would need to be in the moment. I'm not saying I'm killing people. I'm far from that. But I am saying alliances will be broken if need be. I'm fighting for my survival here. There really shouldn't be any loyalty. So right
Yeah.
after Monokuma shows them tapes of their family, friends, or just loved ones in general, either killed or disappeared, it convinced somebody to commit the first killing, with Mizuno being found dead in Naegi's toilet. That's messed up, man. Now, how the rest of the killer
Super
game works
messed up.
is that when a body is identified, players will have a certain amount of time to investigate, look around, discover clues and whatnot until they're invited down to have a trial. And in the trial, if you convict the wrong person of the crime and they get away with it, they get to leave the school scot-free and live their lives. And then everybody else gets executed. But if you convict the right person,
Oh, everybody else gets executed? Shit, nigga, I'm acting like the most guiltiest nigga alive. Nigga, I did it. The fuck? I did that shit. I'm acting like the most guiltiest nigga in the world.
of the murder and it truly was them, you get to survive and they get a punishment. And the punishments
die.
in here are diabolical, bruv. They're crazy. So
They get put in like this weird. I remember, I think it was either her or him. They died and got put in this like fucked up chamber. That shit was crazy.
in the first trial that was held, they found out the killer
that might
behind
have been spoiling, my
Mizuno's
fault.
death was none other than Leon Kawata, the ultimate baseball star, who only killed her in a means of get back since she attempted to kill him in the first place. And she was trying to put the blame on Naegi since they both switched rooms the previous night, which would have given her an alibi and a way to get out the game. What an asshole, she tricked the guy. So because Leon was found out, he gets executed by dying to a bunch of baseballs getting shot at him at Mark speed, finessing the
shit.
guy. And then that's it for the first trial. Then shenanigans go down. And the same shit repeats itself for the rest of the game. They don't kill, Monokuma bribes and uses manipulation tactics to get them to kill, another person kills and vice versa. And these executions shown throughout the whole game, horrible. We have Celestia who was put on a burning stage and hit with a fire truck. We
Told you. See, I told you, that girl with the black hair. She got
got a
she got hit with
spaceship that turned
truck.
a man into bones, a classroom crusher, and Mondo the biker gang guy, he got turned into butter. And Monokuma started eating
Butter?
him. I ain't gonna lie, look busted, but still that's evil.
Pause.
The game is simple enough to understand that my third and final most important point about how I would survive Danganronpa is to just simply play the game. Now let me explain it. When I say I'd play the game, I mean I wouldn't give in to any convincing Monokuma would have for me about killing. I would just go about my business, make my teas in the morning, find dead bodies and investigate as much as the next person in here, helping out
I got here. I got to keep
out the
listening.
killers and move on. The main reason why I would go about surviving this way instead of just becoming one of the murderers and setting myself free is because I don't think you can hide the body all that well.
See, I feel like because you still have to think you're in there as well. Like these niggas are still gonna try to kill you as well. Just because you a chill guy doesn't mean they're not going for you. So not only you gotta already defend yourself, I think the best strategy was to make yourself look as guilty as possible when you actually didn't do shit. If people can vote you out, nigga, you chilling.
Kuma's whole objective is to bring about despair. He wants you to kill. He wants people to find the bodies and investigate. He wants you to convince and have a debate to find out who killed who, and then murder them at the end. Everybody dying is his goal. So even if I went to go ahead to try my luck and take someone's life on my own, how well could I hide the bodies before Monokuma announces it to the rest of the players in the game? That's killer 101. If I know for a fact the body would indefinitely be found leading up to a trial, I would never try to go about this method in the first place. It's dumb. But what if I didn't? What if I was put in a scenario where it's me or them, or I had to take them out, or I'll be the body that's announced dead next morning?
Talk to me.
Well, then you know what I'm doing. I'm kind of left with no choice at that point, which by then I'd do what any other person would do in that situation. Burn as much evidence as I can, get rid of everything, get myself an alibi, and pray to God they never connect me to it. But with all honesty, if I was in a scenario like that where it becomes a one-on-one, potentially I could just become a snitch and say somebody's about to kill me. It's weak, but it probably works. This is a killing game where survival instincts are dialed up to an 11. All morals and ethics fly out the window when you're fighting for your life. As far as I know, there is no right or wrong answer here. And yeah, maybe me just saying I play the game and just move along might not be the best answer, but it is one of the only answers that makes sense here. I take my chances that everything Monokuma will show me is probably a ploy to get me to kill. I wouldn't give in. I'd have small time short alliances with others unless they could prove otherwise, but working together might be our best strategy, and they can be trusted in the endgame. I probably mess with the last few people alive. Play hard in the trials, lock in, keep it honest, and make sure what I'm saying is truthful. And hopefully by the end of it, I can survive to find out the mastermind. If I had to give you a rank on my survival performance in Danganronpa, I would definitely have to say it would be an A rank. I'm getting the hell out of here, man.
Whoopie-doo-scoop.
Squid Game. We all know Squid Game. I'm guessing most of us are familiar with the show. If not,
when I survived Squid Games, season 1, I'm not gonna lie, I'm dying at the cookie and the glass bridge. Them probably the 2 I'm dying at. Mainly probably the cookie. If I get a fucked up shape, I'm definitely breaking my cookie. And then the glass bridge, whether you get extremely lucky or you get put in the back of the line.
what the hell have you been doing with your life? It's Squid Game. Now since the whole show is finished, and I'm not gonna lie, how could they do Ji-Hoon like that? It didn't have to be like
Same
this.
word.
They can't keep getting away with this. And with me speaking about death games, it's only right that I include it in here. Now with there being 16 games across all 3 seasons of Squid Game, I'm not covering all of that, that's long. So I've decided to cover a few of them from each and every different season. And to keep the choices completely unbiased and fair, I'm gonna use one of these wheels to pick a game, which is...
I bet. Don't get no fuck shit. Marbles 50-50. I might have to convince the nigga to gamble his life away.
Fuck. So the marble game is simple enough to understand. But if you and another player you decide to team up with get 1 bag of marbles each. And the goal of this game is to hold all the marbles by the end, taking your opponent's marbles away from them. And the way you get those marbles is up to you. You can play any game you want as long as you end up with the total sum of marbles between you two. You can wager, dash them at each other, flip and fall over them, it doesn't matter. So let's say I was in the marble game with another person and I had to do this to proceed. It's over, I can't do this shit. I have never played no marble game in my entire life. Besides using these things as a kid, but that doesn't count. I was at the playground on the swings back in the day as a kid, man. It's done. Unless I was looking at everybody else wagering, then I would get the idea to do so. But I would solely be so focused on trying to beat my opponent, I wouldn't notice nobody else. I look in like that. So whoever I would be playing against, if they established a game for us to play, depending on what that game is, I might be cooked.
Not gonna lie, I'm going all in or go home, nigga. Get a small bucket or some shit, and we shoot the marbles. First nigga hit that shit twice, get all the marbles. Fuck it. We gambling our lives away. Let's get crazy.
The upper hand. But let's say for the sake of the video that we chose to play even on odds, where the other person would hold out a certain amount of marbles.
Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. I'd rather die because of my own failure in hand-eye coordination and skill versus my mental instability. You know, a nigga was able to mentally fool me. Fuck that. Nigga, I'm all in or go home.
And I would have to guess between it being an even or an odd number. Then it becomes a game of chance. I can't guarantee every time that I will land on either an even or an odd number. I'd have to make a guess. I'm gonna have to get lucky every time like Ali. And we saw what happened to him. He got shagged. It's over. Now, before we get ahead and speak about this game, there's something you might should know about me. Back in my past, before my current self decided to make videos, I used to want to be a basketball player. I mean, I wasn't that good. I
So
was
did
terrible,
everybody.
but still, I trained day in and day out, learning the motions, practicing my ball handling every day to the point where now I have a semi-good steady hand. And you might think I'm bullshitting you here. I might be lying to you about playing basketball. And if you think I am, hold on 1 second.
Hold on, is this Waves? See, I always knew Waves was a nigga. I always knew he was a
About playing
nigga.
basketball. And if you think I am, hold on 1 second.
Is he Somalian? Might be.
You see that?
That was a weak ass. That was a weak, like, nigga had to look down and forcefully do that shit. You gotta do that shit naturally. The ball just gotta fly. Like, it's not even there. Like, you forcefully looked down and did it.
That's real baller shit right there. I was the GOAT. Not to mention, I hit the shot as well. I was cold, man. And with
He definitely did not hit that shot. I'm hating. I'm hating. He definitely did not hit that shot.
my great display of skill I've blessed your eyes with, there's no doubt that I have a chance here. Of course, like all the games in Squid Game, like everybody else, when I would go into this, I'll be hella afraid. I'd probably be shit.
I promise you, if I open that bitch and it's a star or an umbrella, I'm just giving up.
But at the same time, I'd feel somewhat confident in my ability to cut the cookie. Even if you only have a sewing needle to do so, I can do it, man. Now, between the four shapes you can choose from, the one that looks and probably is the easiest to go ahead and cut is the triangle. It isn't a complicated shape with a bunch of lines going into different directions.
But hold on, they didn't know though. Like, they didn't know. Like, they're gonna have to cut a cookie out. They just lined up behind the shape.
Like the star or the umbrella, and it isn't only cuttable in one way like the circle. It's perfect. So what
So you gotta just randomly get assigned the shape.
Impossible. I'm using a sewing needle and that shit's gonna take forever. I'm gonna lose it. Now let's go back to one of the craziest games you can play in Squid Game. It requires full under.
I'm not losing this. I'm keeping a buck. I'm too athletic. I'm sorry. I'm pushing niggas out the way. I'm moving bodies. I'm sorry.
Undeniable distrust and betrayal. This game literally forces you to snake everyone else out for your own survival. It's hurtful. In this game, it's a lot similar to musical chairs in the sense that it follows you going on a merry-go-round playing music, and when a number is shouted out, you form a group with that number, run into a room, and you're safe. And if you don't group up with the right amount of people and get into a room, bye-bye. And then the cycle continues. So
oh my God. Low key, I got an idea. You get a group of 8 people, right? In the group of 8, everybody gets a pair. So there's 4 pairs. So if they need, fucked it. Nah, that's a bad idea. So if they need 2 people, you run off with your pair. They need 4, so you run off with another pair. They need 6, 3 pairs run off. But if they need 3 people, what do you do then? Fuck. Forgot about the odd numbers.
the aim and objective I'd have to go through in this game is to consistently be in rooms with the right amount of people at all times. So my plan of action for this game is simple. First off, I will look around, be aware of my surroundings, look at all my potential competitors and have a good vision about everything. Then, while I'm on the platform and the announcer shouts out
Nah, low-key, find like the biggest and strongest, like one person find the biggest and strongest and team up with him. Because there's always going to be at least 1 or 2. So that means if you can get the door right beside me or we get in the same room. And we just, no matter what the number is, if it's too many people, we're going to forcefully push niggas out the room.
number to group up with, and everybody starts dashing toward the rooms. I'm gonna run directly behind the person trailing behind, swipe their legs, tom them, tiger knee them, hit the Leaf Village secret finger juices. I don't care, I'm gonna drop them and hustle my ass to the room to secure my spot.
That nigga just enter a flow state for a second.
It's the only way, man. I have to. You think I care about anybody else in this game when they can shout numbers like 1? Loyalty is for the weak. Betrayal is for the strongest. Survival is for the powerful. I will survive. And if I ran into one of these rooms and found that there was 1 too many people in there, well, player number 1 had a good idea. I might have to implement that. And thus, that is how I will secure my first win in Squid Game. Sure, it's inhumane and evil, but that's the whole point.
I think not. I feel like if you partner with one person who's very like the strongest out of the group or one of the strongest out of the groups, even if it's 1, you could just go, like tell him to get the door beside you. Because think 2 people actively trying to throw you out of a room, you're going to get thrown the fuck out that room.
Point of this game in the first place. You gonna get mad, man.
Oh, come on. Let's keep it a button. Yeah, niggas don't lose red light, green light. Only dumbasses.
With how I mentioned before talking about Dalgona that I used to play basketball, another thing you guys need to know about me that's important to know before I go ahead to speak about this game
You used to play
is
soccer?
that I am 100% a gigantic class clown. I took little to nothing seriously in school. Shit, I don't take nothing serious in life. I wasn't somebody back then who was too confused to understand schoolwork, but I also wasn't that smart to be taking special higher tier tests compared to other people. I was an average art student who used to mess around with his friends in the middle of class most of the time. I used to take the piss out of teachers, man, I'll be honest. And now you may be thinking, but Waves, how the hell is that relevant? It has nothing to do with red light, green light. Well,
Now, that dead had no correlation, I'm not
Ladies
gonna
and
lie.
gentlemen, in both of the Squid Games, red light, green light is the first game to come up in both. This is the game that happens in the beginning prior to anyone's knowledge of it being a killing game. So no one knows at the start that the games in general can kill you until they play this game and somebody dies. And remember, in the Squid Game that I'm gonna be going into, is the British version. There is no player 456
The British
with past reading
version?
experience to tell the mandem to take it seriously from day one. Instead, somebody would need to die at the start to prove that this shit is real. Somebody who's goofy enough to take a suspicious game like this unseriously enough for them to
Nah, realistically, if I heard gunshots, I'm gonna flinch. Like, I'm gonna move. But I'm not gonna for the first time I see somebody get shot and killed, I'm not gonna just stay still. Like, I'm gonna react. Now that I think about it.
get packed up. Somebody too stupid with no self-awareness, no survival skills, just an all-round idiot who wants to look stupid in front of everyone for their own amusement. Which is definitely not me at the start. Bitch, what do you think this is? The
Shit.
second I would have woken up in this random ass room, I would have been locked in. I ain't playing these games. So let me give you some of my tactics for red light, green light. They're simple. As soon as someone else gets packed off, I'm locking in here. I'll move at a pace that isn't too slow that I would be wasting time and that isn't too fast so I don't stumble. It'll be a jogging type tempo or maybe even a speed walk like Hal from Malcolm in the Middle. There's no time to be wasting here.
Speed walk. Nigga, fuck that. If you play sports, you should be able to stop on a dime. That shit ain't hard. I mean, you don't got a full sprint, but you should be able to move with some speed and then move with some speed and then just sit down.
There's a running clock, somebody just died, and now I've got to come to my senses and get to the end. Also, help me, I'm gonna be next. And since everybody else is gonna be moving sus, I'm gonna be social distancing like this is COVID and stick to one or the other corners of the arena so I'm the farthest away from people. I make sure no one is near me so they can go ahead to hold me and push me to the ground. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Thanos. Bad you know,
shit.
Joe, I'm a legend Thanos. And while I go against the wall, speed walk, making sure I'm distancing from everybody else, and sometimes pushing people on the floor, I'll successfully get to the end of the arena, thus surviving yet another Squid Game. We did it! And now, people, this brings me to the final game I'm going to be speaking about from Squid Game, which is the one, the only.
One-on-one, I don't lose those unless I'm on defense. I might get I wouldn't say I get juked out, but a nigga agile enough, he might get past me.
Really, one of the saddest moments in the entire show. Back then in season 1 when I first watched this and saw Ji-Hoon versus Sung-woo, their fight was so emotional. It was dramatic. I was crying at this shit low-key. It didn't have to be this way. So Squid Game in short is basically a fight to the death. There are two positions you get to have between attacker and defender, and the attacker needs to get to the top of the base and get into the triangle, whereas the defender has to stop you from doing that and push you out the court. It's pretty simple to understand. And for this game to be fair, once again, I've spun another wheel and have pulled becoming an attacker. Now let's get serious here. If I've survived long enough in Squid Game, witnessing everyone else get finessed, get dropped off, even surviving through the lights out part of the show, by that point, I would be so drained and both determined to survive. I'm at the end of the game, I'm gonna focus on. So my plan of action for this game, let me get down to it. I'm gonna make sure between me and the other person, since they both give you knives, I'm gonna make sure that I can knock this person out way before that they could go ahead to stab me.
I'm not gonna lie, fuck a knife. Like, fuck the knife. My only objective is once I disarm him, he can't out grapple me, he can't outbox me. And he might be able to outbox me, but grappling, nah. I'm bull rushing my way through that nigga to the triangle. Just keeping the buck.
And I know that potentially comes off as unrealistic, but hear me out. They're most likely still gonna be too shaken up after everything to go ahead and stab me normally. Even though the path to freedom is by ending me and is literally right in front of them, I still think in a one-on-one scenario, they would hesitate. And I would use this shit to my advantage. So as much as the game would have affected me, I don't play when it comes to survival. I would drop the defender and hustle my ass to the top of the court to get into the triangle and ultimately win Squid Game. We did it! We coming out on top, winning our 45.6 million, which converts to 24 million pounds. And
Oh, 24 mil? Boy, we're gonna have to tax that. Yeah, this the IRS. That ain't that UK shit. Nigga, you walking home with a measly 5 mil.
we living that high life, man. Now I'm guessing what some of you guys are thinking. This some bullshit. But I promise you, this is 110% honesty. I think I'd perform decent at Squid Game. You know, I mean, I'd definitely die at shit like the Glass Bridge or Tug of War. And nobody moves when it comes to the Glass Bridge, I swear. But I think, regardless of these two games, I'd have a
Last bridge, I'm 100%. Unless I'm like number 16, I'm probably 100% down.
somewhat good chance of winning here. If I had to give myself a survival performance rating, we giving it a strong C rank. Not the best, but we still finna come out on top, man. Now, Alice in Borderland, like Squid Game, is a similar type of death game where players are introduced into a world called the Borderland, where every person in Japan has disappeared beside the players, and games are also being held in there. There are 4 different types of games in the first season, and they're based off playing cards. Let me explain it. Club card games require cooperation and teamwork. Diamond card games require intelligence and strategy to solve puzzles to win them. Spade card games require physical abilities like strength, speed, and agility to clear them. Basically, you need to be hella athletic. And finally,
we in that category.
Heart games. These are the worst ones out of 4. These games are psychological, in where you need to have a high trust in everyone, but at the same time, said trust can be broken since they're most likely gonna betray you in these games. 9 times out of 10 in these games, they practically mess you over. It's crazy. And depending on how much hearts, clubs, spades, or diamonds there are on each card, tells you the difficulty of the game. If there's a lot more of them, it means the game is harder. If there's a lot less of them, it means the game is easier. You might understand it, right? Hopefully I broke it down to you. There's even more cards in this series like the face cards, but I've only seen season 1. So we're only gonna break down and I'm gonna give you, man, my honest opinion on how I would try to survive the games from season 1. Starting with the first game, Dead or Alive. Now this game is a lot like the Glass Bridge from Squid Game, in where you're in a room with 2 doors. One says dead and one says alive. And you just have to pick the right door. Otherwise, you get burned. And look, I'm gonna keep it real and cut the shit. I'm dying here, bro.
Yeah, it's just like the Glass Bridge. There's really no, I mean, unless you, by the luck of God himself.
This game is of chance alone. Somebody would have to open a door at the start, completely oblivious to the fact that it's gonna kill them, get packed, and then that's enough for everyone else in the room to start hesitating and not open any doors. And of course, I'm not gonna open any doors. What do you think this is? I don't wanna die. Not to mention, you're also on the clock. You have a limited amount of time to open each door, and the time gets shorter every time you clear the right door. So that means eventually, we would all get hold. The method Arisu used in the show to open each door correctly is anime plot armor. No normal person would have this level of critical thinking in a life or death situation. It's a lie. So in all honesty here, it's over, man. I'm getting packed. Leading on to the next game, we have Tag. And this game is a lot more simpler compared to the last one. In Tag, all you need to do is make sure you stay hidden and run away from the attacker and find a safe zone hidden in one of the rooms in the building in 20 minutes. Or the whole building explodes. In the show, Arisu goes around looking for the safe room so they can push the bars in there, stopping the building from exploding. Whereas Agni and Karube just start going crazy and jump one of the taggers. And guess what? They're just a human. Now here's my takeaway. Since I'm going into these games as just me with no prior knowledge about how these men are normal, I'm just gonna play the game for how it is. Make sure I lock eyes on the tagger frequently from a distance like Chisia did and keep away from them. As for looking for the room, with my eyes locked in on the tagger, I would also check each door simultaneously.
Hold on, why the fuck the tagger got a gun?
Pressing the buttons and surviving this game. We doing it, man. And if the tagger finds me before I get to the room, the next game played off the tag is the wolf and sheep game. And by far, this was one of the most saddest moments in the entire show. In this game, you and however how much people are with you basically play a death game where one of you is a wolf and the rest of you are lambs. The aim of this game is to make sure you're the wolf by the end of the 15 minutes. And whoever is a lamb by the end of it will die. This shit's a bitch, man. And it's a
Ain't that kind of backwards?
7 of hearts game. It ain't easy. The one thing you need to keep in mind here is to make sure you're the wolf and not lock eyes with anyone else.
So the lambs can take your wolf ability. I feel like it should have been the other way around where, you know, you want to be a lamb, but you get turned to a wolf. I don't know. I might be tripping.
You pass it on and become a lamb again. So the only way I would survive this game is to sadly sacrifice everyone else for my own survival. It's mortifying and definitely gonna scar me for life, but it's the only way to live since there can only be one wolf. And in the
Small
show,
price
this
for
shit
salvation.
was so sad because Arasu's friends for a time, Karube and Chota, sacrificed themselves so he could live. And these men are the goats. They didn't have to do this. It's peak. But for me, I ain't surviving this, man. I can't do it. I can't do it to my boys, man. It's not for me. After clearing this game, Arasu meets up with a girl named Usagi from the same game of tag they played earlier. And they team up to work together in the next game, which is called Distance. In where these two, along with another group of guys, need to work together to run a certain distance away from the bus to win the game. Only this game has a trick to it. That the goal of this game wasn't to run away from the bus, but to stay where they started, since the bus the entire time was the goal. Only to survive it, they would need to run all the way to the motorcycle near the end of the tunnel, take the gas that was inside it, use it to fill up the gas in the bus, and jump in there to survive getting drowned by the water coming into the tunnel. And also, there's a giant panther in there trying to kill you.
Oh, see, I was about to say that shit sounded easy until you put a fucking panther in there.
So here's my thought process. This is a 4 of clubs game, meaning that it requires working together as a team, me and the squad. And you see the panther in the middle of the tunnel? Well, I got 2 words for you, man. Sacrificial lamb.
No, I wouldn't say sacrificial lamb, but I would say you definitely got to make somebody, you know, the decoys. Somebody got to be the piece of meat running around that Lord takes his nigga attention away. While we, fuck, I just started super hard. While we go get the gas.
Then I'll end up at the end of the tunnel and accept my fate. Listen, man, even though the whole idea is to get the gasoline from the bike into the van to survive, at this point in the games, I would take everything told in the instructions way too seriously. So if I even saw that the bus at the start even had the word goal on it, as stupid as it may sound, I think it was some sort of coincidence. I mean, we in a murder game. I can't take any chances here. So for this one, I'm getting drowned, man. I'm getting dropped. After this game, Arasu and Usagi chop it up and talk about a place called the beach they overheard on a walkie-talkie. And while they go ahead to go look for it, they get kidnapped. Then they meet the leader of the beach, Hata, who forces them to join up with him and play games to collect cards. Since if one person collects all 52 cards, they can leave the borderland. And everyone in the beach is sacrificing themselves and playing games just to give their cards to Hata. What a dickhead, man. And this leaves Arasu and Usagi with no choice but to join the beach, which eventually leads us into our final game of the season, the most difficult one of them all, Witch Hunt, which is a 10 of Hearts game held at the beach. Yes, the beach was a game arena the entire time. You would have thought. In this game, you need to find the killer who murdered this girl in 2 hours, or everyone else in the beach dies. Now, something I need to explain before I speak about this game is that Agini, the same guy from Tag, is also a part of the beach. He's the leader of the militant corps, which is kind of like security. And these men have guns. So in the show, instead of just going around to investigate who the witch is, they start shooting up the entire hotel, killing everyone in sight. They don't care. They just start.
I mean, technically, you found him. He one of the dead niggas, I guess.
Mocking people. And the reason why Agini commanded this shit is because he killed Hata and blamed everyone in the beach for turning him crazy. The whole hotel turned into a COD map. It's over. If I was in this game, I'm dying, bruv. They would shoot me on sight. I'm finished here. I ain't got no gun. And not to mention the witch, by the end of this episode, was the same girl who got murdered. So it was a trick all along anyway. It's some bullshit. We is not surviving this. It's over. Alice in Borderland is one of the hardest killing games to survive. Most of it is either by chance or by using the powers of plot armor. Everything else, you're gonna get cooked. And the maddest thing about the last game, Witch Hunt, is that this duo right here were dealers who put and organized some of these games. They marked themselves on the direct
Niggas made their own game and still lost.
orders. They trying to throw everyone under the bus. If I was a player in Alice in Borderland, there is no critical thinking or schemes I can make up to win the games. I'm gonna have to RNG my way out. It's not happening. My survival performance rating for this is a flipping D for death. We ain't coming out here alive, but we're finished.
Yeah, I agree. Ain't no surviving that shit, man.
And these are all of the death games I wanted to discuss today. I'm confident in most of my reasons.
Yeah, I feel the same. You know, a lot of these shits, especially that last one, Borderland. That shit, that is really just plot armor survival. It sounds like you just die every step of the way, really. Especially the shit with the Panther. There's no way in hell niggas got past that Panther. Even, you know, that being said, let me know how y'all feel about that down below. That was Dev Games. I actually survived. I'll see y'all boys later, dude. Get your hands off of me, wanna rest my bones when I am free.
control.